Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Men of Liberty. I'm your host, Sam, and today I have with me Noah. Noah, go ahead and say hi.
Howdy, howdy. Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here. Once again, we do not have old Mikey boy. For some reason, Mike is just busy. He's got stuff going on. I think he's out of town in Arizona or something. So, yeah, we're just glad to be here and going to hit up a few topics,
Definitely.
um, kind of tying into what's going on in Canada and the ESG scores and some of that dabble in. So, welcome back. Glad you're here. Take it away, Noah.
Yeah, definitely been a little bit over a week since I think we last came up here, so we're gonna come out pretty hard with a lot of information today on the social credit score in China. Um, so you can see a lot of articles on this. You've probably seen a lot on the mainstream media. There really is a never-ending supply of opinion floating around on this. Some of it good, some of it bad. Um, So we're just going to kind of break this down today. So for the social credit score over there in China, they got looks like 5 or 6 different rating levels, and depending on how high your social credit score is going to be able to determine the job that you have, the education that your kids are going to be able to get. It's the level of control that this puts out over society is just really Orwellian, especially like in this day and age. I don't know how many of you have actually read a book called Fahrenheit 451, but now with the wireless earbuds we're getting, every time I see somebody putting wireless earbuds in, I'm thinking of those bees. Just makes me shudder, especially seeing totalitarianism creep in like this.
Why don't you explain what the ESG is in general, the social credit scoring, and just lay it out for the people listening? Because for some people, they haven't heard of this. They probably don't even know what the heck it is,
Okay.
So it can be confusing. It's definitely something to look out for because I feel like they're trying to start implementing it here. You're seeing, like you have in your notes, Canada kind of hopping in on that. But
Canada's a special, a weird kind of case with this. We're definitely going to hit it a bit later.
right. But
But
why don't you go ahead and just lay out exactly what it is?
okay, so their ESG, their social credit score is based off of a composite of a couple of different things. So first off, it is based off of your credit score. So like, do you pay your bills on time? Are you paying your taxes? Things like that. It also brings into an account like your presence on social media. What are you posting online? If it's something that the state disapproves of, if you publish or transmit basically what the state deems as harmful information, or what they would want to call dismiss, or what's the other mal information, I guess. All that right there would negatively affect your social credit score. It would you could actually even lose your job if you post something that the state deems to be a little too spicy online.
Basically, anything, well, especially in China, anything kind of negative about the government is just like a smackdown for your score, right?
And then also your moral behavior. So as they're like watching you with their 200 million cameras all across the state, if they catch you jaywalking or committing any kind of crime, that'll also affect your ESG score. Those are basically the three faucets that it's coming in from.
Yeah. Danger from these type of things is the amount of control the government has based on just people's opinions, and that's what bothers me the most. It's interesting because implementing that idea in the back of your head is kind of like, oh, that's kind of smart, because there is some intelligence behind that. Definitely not for freedom, though. It can be productive, possibly in some aspects, but like in anything, if you give the government an inch, they take a mile, and that's where this is gone. It probably started with something like, yeah, let's just use it to control, the little behaviors that are actually harmful, right? But then they stretched it out. Now it's like you can't even have an opinion on our government, otherwise we're gonna smack you with a negative score.
I don't think there is like a level of this that is too not invasive, I guess. That would be, in my opinion, bearable to like maybe try to like, as you're saying, like weed out certain types of activity or even like line of thought. That, like I said, freedom, absolutely not. It's a violation of pretty much every basic human right at that point. They're spying on you all the time, rewarding you and giving you basically cookies for doing what they want you to do instead of what might be right, for instance. I think it's too much. There is no form of that I would be willing to accept.
Yeah. Yeah. And China has a very strict scoring system, um, and it definitely affects the citizens there. For all the martial art people, Xu Shaodong, who fought a bunch of fake kung fu masters or people who claimed to be kung fu masters, got hit pretty bad when he ended up beating a lot of these masters, so-called masters in China. This he's an MMA fighter, and the Chinese literally gave him the lower tier of his score, his personal credit score, just because he beat these masters that claimed to be masters and said that they could beat him, and he called him out. And big fan of Xu Shaodong and everything he does. So shout out to him. I hope things work out. He was supposed to have a fight, and I believe it's the DKU, who was the new Bruce Lee. He ended up fighting somebody else from actual UFC, like former UFC fighter, and it was really boring and crappy. Well, he was not the next Bruce Lee. Um, and but anyway, back to the whole scoring system. Xu Shaodong, he wasn't allowed to train at the gym he's been training at for, I thought it was like over a decade or something. He couldn't teach anymore, and he let out a video of him literally in tears, like, my life is ruined. Well, because I'm following through with what I was saying, and calling out these fake masters, and I'm beating them like I'm not doing anything. But he got punished heavily for it, and I think that's a pretty sad thing. The amount of control that the government has over their people there is very scary, very scary, and it's just a perfect reminder that you give them an inch, they will take a mile.
They will. They'll force their way They'll force their way all the way into the house and have their way with everything, including the toaster. They're going to limit the amount of electricity you have. It, with the smart devices that they're coming out with, like a smart thermostat or your smart fridge. You don't think these people are going to end up turning these things off as well in the house at the same time? Like, I know the ones that we're looking at here in the United States, they want to add your carbon footprint to it. They want to base your social credit score off of your power usage and like what's running in your house. How much TV do you watch? How play video games? Are you running lights in the garage? Things like that. When your Alexa's telling them exactly how much power you're using all the time and feeding that back, which is going to lower your score in the long run, we're really hurting ourselves by the technology is great, but the people that are using it against us and for their own interest and power.
Um, Kind of like the Amazon and Facebook spying on the people that their stuff.
Well, the Wall Street Journal is one of the outlets right now actually writing good things about the social credit score and why we should implement it here. But it doesn't really surprise me that Jeff Bezos thinks that's a good idea that we should implement it here.
Yeah. Interesting enough, how like Facebook will track searches that you have, and then all of a sudden you'll start seeing ads for something you've looked up on Google, or if you've searched something on Amazon and it starts popping up, and then all out of nowhere, you're seeing all these ads for this thing. Like, whoa, and I feel like that is actually like first step towards could possibly be social credit stuff for us here in America.
Undoubtedly, these people are keeping your data and selling it to the highest bidder, basically anybody who wants it, whoever's coming in for ads, targeted advertisements towards adults. There's who's to say that a country isn't buying that information? Then, like I said, if something like that were to come into existence and then become law, these companies would have to hand over that data instantly to the federal government or a branch that would be taking care of distributing the scores and finding out what each person is worth, per se. And in the process of doing that, everything you've ever said around your cell phone or your Alexa or your smart TV, anything with technology in it that has been watching you, everything you've ever done is going to be handed over to the government, and they're going to grade you on it.
So here in America, it already started in its own way, not the exactness of it, but there are steps to everything, and just seeing that and hearing about that is kind of scary. And I'm not the only ones that have noticed patterns like that on their smartphones. Or there was that one case where the Alexa had picked up a murder. Do you remember that, Noah? Did you hear about that? Where the Alexa actually was listening when someone had murdered. I think it was a husband who murdered his wife or something, and that was evidence enough for court. But I mean, that it's in itself, it's listening.
Yeah.
It's listening and it's picking up, and there is a record of what you say around those type of devices. So keep that in mind next time you have old Alexa around.
Definitely, definitely. And then, small side tangent, like a January 6th committee, we have these phone companies handing over people's personal communications and records without a warrant. So I think that we already have the cooperation between these corporate entities and the state that should not exist. I don't care if these people are guilty or not. Go through the processes that we have outlined in the Constitution. Otherwise, it's illegal.
We all know that whatever they want is
They're
where it
gonna get.
goes. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. That's why we have to keep speaking out and keep bringing attention to problems like this. And I just recently found out about this, ESG scores. The subject came up on 610 WTBN. Uh, Glenn Beck was talking about it. Get your money out of big banks. Watch what you're saying, to whom you're saying, and the devices that you say it around, or what you're texting, or all these other things, because one day they're going to turn it on you, and it's actually going to affect you if it goes there. Now he and me and you both know that there are people who will stand up to that. Right? We still have very patriotic people here in America that we're proud of, and I hope, I pray that we all have the balls to stand up to something like this, because watching everything with C-19, all the mask mandates and the government control and the reaction behind it, I was very disappointed. The people that I thought were very patriotic and were very pro freedom, watching them fold the way that they did was disheartening. I'm hoping that if this does pop up, we don't have that same response, because we need to stand up to things like this. Don't give them an inch, because they will take a mile. Remember that. It always starts with something so small, and then they stretch it. They're still trying to stretch it right now. When this, in all my opinion, I mean, everything involving C-19 should be done. We should be done. We should be able to go out and live our lives, because, like everything else, all the strands have become less and less and less dangerous or spreadable. Not a doctor. Okay, this is just based on information that I've seen from other doctors who are talking about it. But yeah, just remember that the government's agenda is not for your best interest. It is for their best interest. They want what's best for them. Whatever money they have in the market, whatever shot or whatever, that's why they're pushing that agenda. Right? It's continually going in that direction because they have something behind it. The bad agenda. Don't fall for it. Remember, don't fall for it.
I definitely agree. I hope this country would take a different stance on that. But like you said, with the C-19 restrictions and everything, it seems like most people would be willing to instantly sacrifice their freedom to feel safe. I feel like if pushed correctly, the ESG score could potentially actually take root over here. I could see a lot of people getting behind that. Well, of course we should incentivize good behavior. It's the little things that could potentially be good that they're going to pick out of this and try to sell it to you with. But the back door is complete and total control over every aspect of your life.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, like I said, I was shocked to see people I considered patriotic, 100% for freedom, just hold to this, even though it made 0 sense, and it still makes 0 sense because of the agenda. The amount of shame, people who questioned people who didn't follow what was being put in front of them endured, to me, that they deserve a medal. Every single person that stood up and said, and they questioned it, and they said something isn't right here, right? Because we have to question things. If you don't question things, there's something wrong.
Yep, 100%. And that's something that we should be doing all the time to all of our leaders, no matter who's in office or who's been appointed to the head of this division. Everything they say should be dragged out into the light, questioned, debated publicly, and that's how we should settle things instead of just so one-sided partisanship.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's break down the score just a little bit more. We're going to talk about the different divisions in it here. So on the low end of the score, anything like below a 600, you're considered on a national blacklist. That's like can't leave the house. Like you were saying, you can't train, can't go to the gym, can't go to the store. You're not allowed to have a job. Some of these people have an instant warrant. So this would also be for like political dissidents. If you, let's say, post a picture of Xi Jinping online that might have him looking somewhat like Winnie the Pooh, you're instantly going to be put on that national blacklist and have a warrant issued for your arrest. So I mean, there's certain things that you can do, like political dissidents, that'll get you not just put with a really low social credit score. It'll actually make you disappear from society entirely. But there are those also that are not quite disappeared, but can't partake in society. We go up a tier above that, and you're subjected to basically like random visits from the party. At any point in time, the police can stop by, go through every one of your belongings, double check to make sure like you're following all your laws, keep an eye on you all the time. This will affect your job. You could potentially lose your job because you have a credit score that low. I know it at a certain point that they're also, if you have pets, they will take your pets too. Crazy, crazy stuff. A level above that would be like a B score. That one's just like kind of average. You're not really losing a whole lot. You might be setting yourself up for like a potential pop by, or like a lecture on maybe if you did this for the state, it would raise your credit score, or if you said these things to these people, it would raise your credit score. Like, or if you tattle on your neighbors, if you tell me who is disseminating anti-state propaganda in your apartment building, we'll bump you up to another bracket of credit score. And like that, the ability for this to be turned as a weapon against the people you should be working with, I think, is what disturbs me the most. Because it worked in communist China during the Color Revolution, there when Mao took power. Right? It has worked in Nazi-occupied Germany, and it has worked for the KGB in the USSR. And to have a system like that, not just there, but so omnipresent compared to what it has been at any point in the past, as easily accessible as this is for both the state and the citizen too, that is something we've never seen before, and can have effects worse than I think in anything we have seen before, taken to the extreme. This will lead to much worse things than we've historically seen.
Yeah, it's all starts with something small. Remember that, and that's why when people saying or comparing, the time in Nazi Germany when we're singling out the Jews to the singling out of the people who are unvaccinated. That's where that comparison came from. It was labeling people, right? Like they were sick or they were ill, they were the problem. Now we're finding out the science says something different. The science says, oh, this no longer protects you from this. This is more help with your symptoms. Things like that. So, remember, anytime the government tries to silence citizens on speaking on these type of subjects, something sketchy is going on. Anytime it's just even when fact is being spoken and it is then labeled as misinformation, know something is wrong. It's just the truth. Sometimes people, they don't want the truth. They just want comfort. They want to feel safe. They want to feel happy. They want to go on with their lives. They would rather live comfortably, right, than live free. And that is a slap in the face to everyone that gave their life for for this great nation. Yep.
We've talked about the negative effects of this, basically everything from kind of like a neutral credit score all the way down to the negs. So let's start looking at the positives. If you're in the thousand plus social credit score range, so like they will use you pictures of you publicly to be like, this is what a good citizen looks like. This is somebody you should aspire to be. He is helping old people. He's doing this. He's helping carry groceries in his spare times. They will find ways to make you be a role model citizen where they want to show that off. You also get priority choice in schooling and social assistance too if you need it. So like basically like your food stamps or uh, unemployment benefits at this point. Also, like, so once you get up to like the AA rating, the 1050 plus area, at that point, then you are prioritized for schooling and medical treatment as well, and not just like your schooling. If you were to have kids, their their choice in schooling would be prioritized over somebody with a lower social credit score, and yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's
works over there too.
yeah. That's bizarre, Noah. Do you think that America is on its way to that?
I think we very well could be.
And what makes you think that?
I just see the aspect for social control and the way that they're trying to there is a uniform view of society that they are trying to build here, and if you don't fit into that uniform view of society, you are already blacklisted and deplatformed, and they're working on debanking you to this country right now. So the chain's already in motion. It's just whether or not we're all going to come together to do something about it to stop it, because like it's not just the people that actually want to sit here and be like Joe Rogan's misinformation online. He has a right under the Constitution to voice his opinion, right? And so do you. So using unconstitutional power like that to suffocate another opinion and point of view, how would you feel if it was your own? Because that will be used not just on him, that'll be used on you, and it'll be used on your children and everybody else here as well. So unless you are going to jump every time the state tells you to perfectly, you really want to think about this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, it's small steps. The first few steps I'm noticing are the big companies, big organizations like Facebook, Amazon, using Intel based on your searches or even just Alexa, building off of that. That's the first step towards our social credit scores coming to America. Be prepared. Don't be shocked by it. Just be prepared. Um, and vote against it. Pay attention to bills that are trying to be passed. Pay attention to the people in office that you're voting in.
Definitely make sure your rep knows that you are against this.
Yeah, definitely. Make it known. Make it. The more people that are aware, the less power it's going to have, and also the shock. I think, because everyone can spread the word to everyone. So if you can pass on and research the idea as well, research the negative effects it's had, and even some of the positives. It's good to know, both sides of it.
Well,
Ultimately, though, it is, in my opinion, it's 100% anti-freedom. It's 100%, even in some ways, not very humane. Um,
the people they're asking if they enjoy living under this in China that are answering, yeah, it's not that bad. What happens to them if they say no? What happens to that social credit score if they answer honestly whether or not they enjoy letting the state watch them all the time?
they get blacklisted, or their score goes down, right? So you have no voice. Voice is taken, and without that freedom to speak, what do you have? That's the ultimate question. That's why here in America we're so blessed. We're allowed to talk, allowed to have an opinion. Whether you agree with it or not, we're allowed to. That is a gift. Grateful. All of us should be grateful, and we should use it. And we should use it for what's right. We should use it for what's good. Never stop.
Definitely, definitely. Well said.
It's cooking over there in Canada, Noah?
Well, up in Canada, they have actually agreed to work with the Chinese Communist government there. They have put up, I believe, over 60 cameras. I can't remember the name of the district. We will have the article linked below. But they basically have 60 cameras set up around a food district in a city they got up there. And this is watching all the time. And it's linked with the social credit score cameras they got in China. So Chinese nationals outside of Canada, or outside of China and Canada, are also being recorded and watched outside of their home state. And the fact that Canada is allowing them to set up these cameras and monitor Chinese nationals on Canadian soil is worrisome to me, because this is the same government now that is cracking down on nonviolent protests. So, if you're asking me if I believe if Trudeau is using those cameras just to allow China to keep tabs on their citizens, I don't. He is for a fact keeping tabs on every one of his citizens that walks around in that area as well. No doubt in my mind. And that to me is dangerous. So like, it's already there. Whether or not they're telling you that what they're using it for is a different issue, but it's there, and they are using it, and they're going to spread it.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. Uh, Interesting comparison with Trudeau. He walked out on Parliament the other day when the conservative sides were kind of calling him out on things, asking him to apologize for comparing a Jewish person amongst the fine people there to Nazis and to be standing up for the Nazis, which was completely insulting and out of line. And
I just can't believe somebody that's wearing blackface like has the stones to stand up and say somebody else is a Nazi.
yeah, no,
Like,
he's a fraud.
yeah,
Trudeau is a fraud, and in my opinion, he's a big old pussy.
wet noodle.
Yeah, completely useless. And he went out and he took a knee with BLM, but he won't even give these truckers the time of day. So
Well,
so what's the difference? What's the difference of opinion? And the freedom to say something, the freedom, to protest something you disagree with or you feel like infringes on your human rights. Like what the heck is that?
you can still protest in Canada. It just can't be over the vaccines
Right.
or any of the mandates.
Because it's
Yeah, it's
science.
instantly terrorism up there now.
Yeah. Well, that's just bizarre and pathetically stupid.
Yeah, no, right?
Yeah, the Trudeau.
We got to give the chancellor emergency powers to save the republic, and we're all going to take a break over the weekend. And
For the first time ever, they're using the Emergency Act
yeah,
in the history of Canada. The first time.
I think they've used it 3 times. I think there was like once in the 70s and once again in the 90s.
This is the first time in a long time. Then okay,
I
well
think
then I stand corrected.
yeah. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I'd have to check, but
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I read an article. It was the first time it's ever been used. So
they've definitely had some civil unrest up there before in the past. But you,
I don't know. I mean,
my,
all
my
I
comment,
know is there is no reason for them to do that. Just stop controlling them. And the funny thing is, a majority of the Canadians are I think it's like 90% of Canadians are vaccinated.
yep.
But the thing is, they gave them an inch, and they're taking a mile. People who are vaccinated can't go visit, their dying grandmother in the hospital because of the protocols they have there. Right? They're done with it. They are done with the control of the government. They're done with Trudeau's pathetic mandates and his just such. I mean, it's not even science anymore. He's following a political agenda, and he's going to follow it to the end.
Yep.
But the thing is, his time in politics, I think, has just been cut extremely short. He has shown that he is only one-sided, okay, and that he doesn't even want to hear the other side. He does not care. So it wouldn't surprise me if they call in a vote of no confidence very soon
That would
over
be
there in
great.
Parliament. They better, because what a waste of space.
I would be shocked if they did. Canada is a lot different from us. We offered, you guys like, hey, we're gonna do this revolution thing if you guys wanna hop in, and they were like, so I mean, culturally they are a lot different from us. It takes a lot for them to actually get to that point, I think. So to see a lot of them out in the streets protesting this, I think was nice. People would have expected it if it was America, I think. So to see it be Canada first instead is something different to look at.
The fact that Canada has bigger balls than us right now is it blows my mind. You know, it kudos to all those truckers, by the way. You guys rock. The Freedom Convoy, you guys, more power to you. Thank God for people like you that actually stand up and don't follow these pathetic rules that are not there for your safety, but are there strictly for the control that the government wants over your life. And like I said, in many ways, this was a failed attempt here in America to control, right? And now we're seeing it slowly dwindle away as we have elections coming up, so we're seeing even, I mean, the fact that New York dropped their mask mandate before we did here in Ohio, that says something. They're scared. They're scared because they know people have had enough.
It's all poll numbers at this point.
Right. I mean, we're done. We're done with the BS. We're done with your mandates. This is America. We are free. You want to test that? I don't think so, because what happened when the government over in Britain just taxed people on tea? Yeah. Okay, you piss off the patriots enough here, you're not gonna like what happens. So.
Definitely. I'm excited to see our own trucker protest starting. I would man, I hope they honk all day and all night as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No sleep in DC.
Yeah, they're kicking butt. It's good. It's good to see.
Nothing gets done there anyway. They might as well honk all day and all night.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It's good to see. Sad part is it had to start in Canada versus us here. But the thing is, it spreads like wildfire, right? The confidence, the bravery, right? Courage is contagious, right? So spread some courage, people. We need that. We need that here in America. We need that all over the world.
Definitely, we should be putting up a little bit better here, because we're nowhere near under the threat that those guys are up north. Like I said, that's terrorism up there now. They're arresting people. They're not getting them court dates. They don't know how long they're gonna be sitting in jail for. There's a couple countries in Europe that are doing it on the same level, just as hard, and New Zealand, I believe, as well, actually. So like, for us being able to still go out and protest this stuff right now is definitely important. So definitely, if you can, get out and do it. Let that voice get heard.
Don't be afraid, folks. That was kind of the gist of what we wanted to talk about today. We want people to be aware of this social credit scoring that is actually already, I believe, being implemented here in our banking systems in America, which is why Glenn Beck was encouraging people to pull their money out of big banks, to be aware, put it into credit unions or smaller local banks.
Even Mike Lindell got deplatformed from his local credit union up there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is the SPLC. They are currently working hand in hand with PayPal. They are the SPLC, which we all know how accurate they are in defining what actually is considered extremist. So when the SPLC says something's extremist, then PayPal is going to go ahead and shut off their ability to get money online. And in some instances, I actually think that's a good thing. I don't think you should be able to actually support people that actually do Sig Heil and have a swastika up in their house. And I don't think you should be able to support the KKK. But calling like Glenn Beck or Steven Crowder hate speech is just way too far.
Bunch of snowflakes melting.
Yep. Can't wait until summer. Can't wait until summer.
But so today was good. People, please like and comment, subscribe. We appreciate your feedback. Last week we didn't have time to dabble in some stuff, personal things. We're trying to build our platform here and to talk about things that we feel like are relevant in today's time, that affect everybody in America and around the world, believe it or not, because that's what the social credit scoring system is. It's already affecting people in China, and now it's starting here in America bit by bit and piece by piece. The government is seeing how far they can get away with mandates and pushing our personal freedoms and liberties. So be aware of those things. Again, like and subscribe. Much appreciated for everybody who took the time to watch us. Hit us in the comments on some subjects that you're curious about so we can do our own research and maybe discuss it. And we love feedback. So.
Definitely shoot us a like, comment if there's anything you guys want us to cover. If there's anything we missed, you guys want to add to the situation, please feel free. We'll try to get an email or something set up as well, so you guys can kind of keep in correspondence with this.
We have an email already in the description in
Ooh.
our on our page. So if you want to go ahead and send an email, I respond to those usually within the first day or two. I train a lot in martial arts and I also teach it, so I'm very busy in the evening time. But once I get home, I always check my emails. Um, yeah, that's the whole gist of the show today. We really appreciate you guys who tuned in. We should be back next week, and we
Post
hope
us
to
in
see
those
you.
comments.
Right. Yeah. We hope to see you next week. Noah, thank you for being here, my friend.
Anytime, boss.
And as always, God bless. We'll see you.